Hello, DV Asia. This is Ross Shane from Imagineer Systems, here from NAB 2012. My company, Imagineer Systems, makes a product called Mocha, which is a motion tracking, rotoscoping visual effects tool. We have a brand new version called Mocha version 3, which adds new tools for rotoscoping and a great new 3D camera solver. So then artists can basically quickly track a background and export the data into After Effects, Nuke, Final Cut Pro, Flame, Smoke, basically every system. With our new 3D camera solver, we can actually solve a camera, so you can copy and paste data right into Adobe After Effects. So I encourage everyone who's watching this to check out our product, which is called Mocha, and it's mocha-pro.com. Thank you very much.
Hello DV Asia, this is Martin Brennan, Product Manager from Imagineer Systems, and I'm going to show you today some of the new features in Mocha version 3. Okay, so one of the biggest things that people have been asking for in Mocha version 3 is the ability to be able to handle a lot more layers a lot easier. In version 3 now, we have this ability through being able to select multiple layers and to be able to affect them at the same time using a transform tool. So this new white box that we've got around our transform is the ability now to be able to rotate and physically move all of those objects, distort them in space, and also scale around uniformly inside the shot. So this means that we've got a lot better way of manipulating a lot of objects at the same time without having to go through layer and layer and layer and individually tweak points. With that in mind, tweaking points has now got some nudge layer tools. If I select my point here, and let's just zoom in a little bit here, I can select a point here and actually nudge now with the arrow keys or using the shift key. I can move that point around really quickly. If I don't have any points selected, I can also nudge the whole layer. Just like that. So if we just zoom out a little bit here, we can have a look further on the shot here. We've got a shot here from Identity Effects. They worked on the film Conan. And one of the big problems that you have with large roto shots is the ability to let multiple artists work on the same shot. So what we're going to do is actually use the Merge Project tool that's new in Mocha version 3. So I'm just going to delete these because these were just a test shot that I was doing. And I'm going to merge in projects from another work that artists have done somewhere else. So I'm going to merge in my background here. And it just takes a little while to bring in all those shots. And we can see one artist has worked on just the background shots here. And we need to bring in some also for the foreground shot. So some other artist has worked on that as well. So I'm going to merge in another project. And again, just thinks about it a little bit just to bring in all those files. And then that brings in the foreground object as well. So now we can actually go through and review the shot from multiple artists and bring it into the one shot for finalized rendering out to mats. You can see up here too in the new layer control system that we also now have grouping. This is a nice way to manage many, many layers at the same time, because we can also hide them away if we don't want to see them, or if we need to do multiple color changes at the same time to look in the shot, we can easily change them through the whole group rather than going through each individual layer. The same goes for splines. If I want to change my spline colors, I can move those through in the color changer very easily with that group. We've also got some nice layer customizations in here now. We can go up to our group headers and we can select any of these areas and hide those columns in our layer control panel. This means you can just clean up your layers so you don't have to see as much information in the shot when you're wanting to work on something and want a minimalized interface. So I'm just going to bring those back by just saying show all columns once again. What do we also have, and I'm going to just bring up a different file here for this. Let's go to my recent files. One final new tool that we've got in the Join Layers is, in Mocha is the Join Layers tool. Here we've already got a head just rotated into the shot, and we want to add a bit of neck mat to that shot. So I'm going to roto a quick shape around the neck here. But the problem is that if we look at the mats for these, you can see that there's a seam coming through the edge of this shot. So what we want to do is link those mats together so we don't have that seam. So I'm going to grab my join tool here and we just hook those in. So we can just hook those points in to those areas. And then when we actually animate through the shot, they will actually move with that mat as well. So you can link up all of those mat points together so you get a seamless mat for that edge. This is really useful when you're actually doing things like the corners of buildings where you need to get a really nice tight mat into that area. So that's the main roto tools that are going in there. We've also got the new dope sheet. If you have a look at the dope sheet down here, quite often we find the situation where you've worked on a shot for a very long time and then suddenly production says that they need to add another 10 frames to the beginning of the shot. So with this, we can easily select our keyframes and move them around so we can add extra information to the beginning of our shot without having to like relink all of our stuff again and like manipulate all of our keyframes all over the place. We can also easily go into, say, let's go into this layer here and look at the track for this layer. We can grab these keyframes, copy them, move it to a different area in the shot. I move my playhead if it moves over to here. And we can paste those keyframes in. So there's an easy copy paste process if you've got an easy lockdown layer that you need to add more keyframes to. So they're the main new roto tools, the dope sheet, the layer management system, and the new transform tools. Now let's have a look at the new feature that we've got in Mocha V3, which is the camera solver. So I'm just going to move over to a new shot for that. Here we have a shot from SVT from the show Real Humans. And I'll just zoom up a little bit here. The camera solver works by actually taking simple tracked planes within the shot and then solving a camera for those tracked planes. So it's a bit different to a camera tracker, which tracks a whole bunch of features through the shot and then works out a camera from a point cloud. Instead, it just takes our standalone simple planar tracking data and works out a camera from that. So here, with those mats turned on, we can see I've just got a few mats track here in the shot. I've got a moving track for the lady in the foreground, and I've got a background track for that pan shot through the system here. So I'm going to now take the pan shot, go over to my camera solve, and work with the camera solver to get that camera out. So we've got an auto checker here. If we zoom in here, we can have a look at that. So we've got an auto here to be able to let Mocha guess the type of camera track it is, but I know it's a pan tilt, so I'm going to choose pan tilt zoom in this instance. We can then just simply click solve, and then Mocha will go through and solve that camera for the shot. I can then just export that camera out to any particular format that I need. So if we zoom in here again, I'm just going to quickly go through those formats. So we've got After Effects for the 3D motion inside After Effects that bring out a camera and some null objects. In Mocha Pro specifically, we have the ability also to use FBX and a specific FBX for Nuke because Nuke handles FBX just a bit differently to say Maya or Cinema 4D. So I'm just going to cancel that out. And in this case, I've exported out to Cinema 4D to put in a telephone box into the background of the shot here. So we can see this empty space in Mocha where I've tracked. And we've moved over to Cinema 4D here. You can see I've inserted a telephone box into this shot, and that is inserted with the 3D camera into that shot from that planar data. You'll see too that I've also tracked the foreground object of this lady's chest here, and any moving objects, once you've actually solved a camera in the shot, you can then take any moving object and export that data out as well the same way. So we can just simply go back over to Cinema 4D, merge in some new points, and here you can see in the foreground those points are now attached to her body and the nulls are orientated for the motion of her path. So that's the way the camera solver works. We also have the ability to track moving cameras through shots, and I'll quickly show you an example of that as well. So let's just load up a new file here. So here's a previous example that I've done. I've tracked the 4 areas in this shot here. So I've tracked a ground plane and the wall plane, because for a moving camera you need to define at least 2 separate planes so it knows how that movement is going through the shot. So we can go through and we can see how that's moving as a 2D planar track, but now we're going to take that 2D planar track and actually convert it to the camera. So again, we can either choose auto in our camera solver, or in this case I know it's a small parallax, so I can click solve for that. I've already solved for this shot, so we won't go through that, but I'm going to show you the resulting FBX inside Nuke. So I'll just go over to Nuke here. And here we can see the 3D data that I've got in Nuke. So we've pasted in a camera, and it brings in this planar point surface data for the shot. You can see also that I've put in a 3D object here, and I'm just going to go back to my 2D representation so we can see that 3D object in the moving camera data now. So that 3D object is now sitting solidly in that scene just from the planar data that I've tracked inside Mocha. So they're the main new features inside Mocha Pro version 3. Obviously we've got all the standard features that were originally in Mocha V3, so the remove module, the insert module, the lens calibration, and our great planar tracking data across Mocha E and Mocha Pro. I've been Martin Brennan from Imagineer Systems, and I hope you got some information out of this. Thank you.